Fishing is fun, but hooking is the only way. We're gonna show you how to catch some fish today.
So this report's for November 16th, but first I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I work in a tackle store. I've been in the fishing industry for over 30 years. I get a lot of my information from local guides, customers, friends. I'm on the water 3 or 4 times a week. So all the stuff I give you is really current. So, you know, it comes out on Wednesday, you could go out and utilize it on the weekend. If you're on your way Saturday morning, 6:30 in the morning, turn on to 11:40 a.m. California Sportsman. I do a live report right then. I'm on live. I do 2 videos a week. On Monday, I do a teaching video. So, you know, some kind of fish or whatever's going on, you know, I do a video on that and it's very instructional. Then on Wednesday, I do the reports. So the hottest thing going on right now probably is crabbing, because it opened a couple weeks ago. So Dungeness crab season's open. You could refer back to this last Monday and watch my video, because there's some rules that you have to follow by. You can only use the nets. You can't use anything that's enclosed. Remember, you only could soak for 2 hours maximum, and you can't leave your pots out. So crabbing has been really good. You know, all the boats seem to be coming in with nice limits. And one of the things that, you know, the guys that were fishing shallow had a tough time. So all the guys that were really solid coming in with a lot of limits were fishing anywhere between 100 and 200 feet of water. But the crabbing has been good. The crab have been averaging good size, like a couple pounds a piece or more. So, you know, get out there and do some crabbing.
Oh yeah, It could be our biggest one. Oh yeah.
Holy moly!
Holy moly, moly! So gentlemen, what do you think of the last pot of the day?
Not bad.
Last pot's
That's
the
how you
best
start,
part.
it's how you finish. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, Bodega Bay, second weekend. We found them. Limit ounce for everybody on the boat. Awesome time. Got Tom, David, and Captain Glenn.
So other things going on out there in the saltwater world is rock fishing. Rock fishing has been off the hook. You know, during the fall, a lot of those rockfish are getting ready to spawn, so they'll move into shallower water. So the lingcod come in, they've been anywhere from 30 to 100 feet of water. They've been averaging 10 to 25 pounds. You're allowed 2, and make sure you check that length, because they have to be a certain length. But the rock fishing overall has been really solid. You could book with these 6-pack guys, you know, some of the guys that, you know, give me a lot of information. Like Steve, they're taking guys out, getting limits of rockfish and crab. So that's available right now. The halibut fishing in the bay, it's kind of slowed down, but I still heard they're catching some. So the die-hard guys that want to go catch halibut, they're still available. They're still actually catching them. Then when we come inland a little bit, the hot thing going on too is sturgeon. Sturgeon right now, between the Martinez and the Pittsburgh area, has been off the hook. They've been catching a lot of fish. The #1 bait is roe, so if you got that fresh salmon roe, you know, make sure you bring that along with you, because that's been the hot bait. And they've been catching a lot of, the reports I've been getting, they've been catching a lot of oversized, a lot of legals, and a lot of shorts. So there's a mix of everything in the system, but you know, limits are pretty much easy to the roll. Striper fishing, been kind of a hit and miss, so-so. John was out there this last weekend. He did really good. He caught quite a few fish, up to 10 pounds. And a lot of the guys on the San Joaquin side have been catching quite a few, but they're a little bit smaller, but they're plentiful. I was down there a couple of weeks ago with a couple of guys that work for me, and we had over 50 fish a day. So, but the fish are not big. They're anywhere from 16, which is, they have to be 18 inches to keep, but 16 to about 7 pounds was what we were on. But I heard they're catching some bigger ones down there, and they're catching a lot of the bigger ones spooning in 25 to 35 feet of water. But throw top water, because top water will always get you that big bite. And when I'm out there, I'm usually throwing it in anywhere from 2 to 4 feet of water. Them big fish go in that shallow water to chase those squall fish. But the striper fishing has been pretty decent. It's slowed up for us today. It got really cold this last week, and it got a little bit tough for me. The water temperature dropped about 12 or 13 degrees. And usually the fish have to get acclimated, meaning that they have to get used to it. It'll probably take them about a week, and they'll go right back to their craziness, and they'll start biting like crazy. Because down here in the Delta in the fall is my best time to come out here striper fishing. I catch a lot of big fish, and usually the water temperature is around 52 to 56 degrees. And I'm kept busting the big boys on top water and glide baits. But if you want to come down here right now, you know, because they're quite not acclimated yet, then I would spoon and throw 5-inch swim baits. But the striper fishing, I think it's going to bust loose any day now. So we're going to come in the Delta. We'll talk a little bit more about the bass fishing down here. It's been kind of tough because it got really cold and the bass seem to have shut down. But as soon as the same thing, as soon as they get acclimated to it, especially up north, you know, the fish will start turning on and you can go out there and have a good day on the bass. The lakes, bass fishing, have been pretty good. Don Paganelli's been up to berryessa. He took a couple clients this last week and he caught some decent fish. He didn't really get on a really good spoon bite like we've been doing for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And he had to go to the drop shot, but he did manage to catch some decent fish for his clients. Rick, the owner of bladerunner, he was been going to Folsom and he's been catching a lot of fish. He was getting them spooning in 35 to 45, but you know, this cold weather we had this last week, I think it's going to put them down a little bit, but they'll get right back to it. And also, you guys that have access to the port, it's been pretty on rather than off. They've been catching a lot of them spooning over there. So, you know, if you have access, you might want to look into that. Now we're going to go up into our lakes and talk a little bit about trout fishing. Last week I kind of screwed up because pardee closed on the 6th. You know, they were going strong until then, but they closed for the winter and won't be open back up till February. But Comanche, Amador, Collins, all these lakes are planting heavily right now because the water temperature dropped in the mid-60s, which is perfect ideal conditions. Watch for the plants because you could go there when they plant and catch a ton of fish off the bank, throwing little Kitex, or you can use power bait. You can catch those planters anyway. A lot of the guys that are trolling have been going to a speedy shiner or a Rapala. You could also pull blades with a night crawler, but when you troll speedy shiners, you want to go about 2.5 miles an hour, and you could pull a Rapala going that fast, but you can't pull a worm behind dodgers or flashers. So you kind of have to everybody has to use the same kind of lure, otherwise you're going to have a mess. But the trout fishing seems to be going pretty good because of the cold weather that we're having. So salmon fishing is kind of coming to a halt. They're still catching some. There's a report, a friend of mine was over in a minor slough, and there was a school of lost fish in there, and everybody was catching the heck out of them, but they're kind of turning dark. I know the McCollamies, they're catching fish still in the McCollamy. You know, it's getting late, the fish are getting a little dark. They're also lining them in American and the Feather River, so you could still catch some salmon. And you probably smoke them, they're probably still decent fish smoking. Fall's here, and one of the things I like to do in the fall is go after crappie. You can refer to a video I did a couple weeks ago. We were up at Berryessa catching crappie that were 1 to 2 pounds average. The Delta's gonna bust loose any day here. We were out just this last week. Every cast we were catching them. The water temperature is 54 degrees, so those fish will start moving into the back of the sloughs. And also if you have trees laid down in a slough, use your electronics. I did crappie videos, and you can look, and I use my video side scanning, find trees, as I did in berryessa. You can just go over there and drop on top of them and yank those things out one after another. So crappie season is, here, and it'll be here until it rains like crazy where the water gets off color, but you can catch a lot of them. So my tackle tip for this week, guys, is regarding crabbing, Dungeness crab. Make sure you read the regulations that you can only use nets. You can't use cages. Anything that's enclosed, you can't use it. And also, you don't need a crab validation stamp when you're using rings. And also the buoy system, you do not need to have 11-inch buoy with a 3-foot leader to a 5-inch buoy. That only retains 2 pots. So you can put any kind of buoy system you want on there. You just got to make sure you put your Go ID number and your name on the buoy so they know that you're not pulling up someone else's, traps. And also, one of the things about using these nets is the crabs can come out, go in, come out. Use your electronics. Watch the videos I did. Use your electronics and look for areas where it's mostly sand. You don't want to get in any area where there's rocks. You want to be in a sandy area. I suggest when using the net, from experience, drop it out and then check it in like 45 minutes to an hour. Pull one up and look. And if you don't have anything, then I would go to the next one, pull them up, and then go deeper. So usually I would start right around 80 to 100 feet, and then if I don't find them, then I'll just keep moving them out until you find them. Because once you find that sweet spot, you're going to pull your pot up and it'll have anywhere from 5 to 20 crab in each pot. So my tip of the week is check those pots and make sure you have a gauge with you, because the law requires you to have a gauge. They have to be 5 3/4 of an inch. And have a good trip, because the crab season is here. If you guys need to get out, because commercial season opens December 1st. So right now, there's abundance of them, but most of those commercial guys will be dumping in 200 to 250 feet. They're usually out a little bit deeper, and I think as the season goes on, the crabs will come in shallower. So that's my tip of the week, and make sure hit that like button if you like the videos I'm doing. Make sure you subscribe, doesn't cost you anything. And look on the bottom, there's that little comment. If you want, you can click on there and leave me a comment, and I'll usually get back to you within 2 or 3 days. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.
Fishing is fun, but hooking is the only way. We're gonna show you how to catch some fish today.